All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending. I feel like the Big 12 has already won.
He's got Stanley. Stanley inside the 5.
I'm confident the Big 12's in a great spot.
Leaping in the air and making the grab at the sideline.
What's Trending, presented by Bodyguards, protection for a life worth living. Learn more at bodyguards.com. Expansion talk has resurfaced yet again, and most recently, based on an article that we have from Ross Dellinger, college football writer and insider for Sports Illustrated. He wrote discussing the next wave of conference realignment. In his article, he noted a few things, Jarom, and we bullet pointed the notables. Number one, the Big 12 is looking to expand to 14 or 16 teams. This isn't really new. We knew that Brett Yormark was wanting to do that, but again, it has surfaced because of the recent developments. Expansion targets include the Arizona schools, Colorado and Utah from the Pac-12, as well as San Diego State, UNLV, Memphis, and UConn.
More targets. I love target.
The Pac-12 has a plan to add San Diego State in 2024 as well out there brewing. The Aztecs would owe the Mountain West $17 million in an exit fee that would triple in cost if they aren't added to a Power 5 conference, whether it's the Big 12 or Pac-12, by July 1st. So as well as the Magnificent Seven that has come into play, Jarom, out of the ACC.
That nickname's so bad. Who's saying NC State's magnificent?
They're looking for ways to get out of a media rights deal that feels like it's in place forever through 2036.
It's a 20-year deal, when they say.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, based on the July 1st situation with San Diego State, and I feel like that is first and foremost because that has to happen now. I mean, we're just a number of weeks away from that. Do you expect something to happen with conference realignment before July 1?
Well, if San Diego State's going to go somewhere, yeah. They don't. Do they have 17 mil?
Oh, man.
Let alone 51 mil? I mean, that feels crazy. Okay, regarding expansion in the 14 to 16 teams, the ACC is interesting in this convo because they're getting restless. In fact, there was a report by someone from the Tallahassee Journal saying ADs were yelling at each other at a bar, at ACC spring meetings. Like, what? What's going on? They are stuck. Their grant of rights, their TV contracts, are with the ACC through 2036. They're trying to figure out if they can get out of it.
Yeah, they were meeting to discuss, and I quote, how unbreakable that contract really is.
It's like they just realized UCF is going to the Big 12. Like the Florida State AD's comments the other day about, wait a minute, why are Florida State and Miami going to make less than UCF?
It's unacceptable.
And again, for UCF, that's not immediately. That money is 2025, when it's a full share for everybody, the newbies. But the ACC doesn't have schools to pick from right now. That's not even an option. But if it became an option, certainly would be interesting for the Big 12. BYU's in a league that has 3 time zones. Brett Yormark said he wants to get to 4. San Diego State, Andorra, Gonzaga type would certainly help you in the West. If the any Pac-12 teams become available, certainly the 4 corners have been out there. Obviously, Oregon and Washington seem like the best 2. If I'm Utah, I want to stay in the Pac-12 because suddenly we're actually winning conference championships the last 2 years, and we're the best football program right now consistently. I would want to stay. I would not want to leave. And it's not even necessarily a TV money thing, which the Pac-12 contract, TV contract, is sort of going to dictate what happens, if anything, with the Pac-12. So, yeah, there's a lot that's up in the air. The San Diego State thing's interesting. The Gonzaga thing's interesting, too. It wasn't mentioned in the article, but Stuart Mandel of The Athletic told us a couple months ago it could happen in a couple weeks. It didn't. So we'll see what happens. I do fear, though, that the Big 12 becomes this sort of new WAC when the WAC went to 16 teams and it was all over the place. And it was like, this is really diluted. Obviously, you're adding Power 5 programs for the most part, or teams that very easily could be Power 5 programs. So it's different in that way, but I don't know. At some point, it just gets a little weird if it's too spread out. We'll see what happens with all this.
Well, how spread out was the WAC? Because it was primarily Texas and then to the west. So the Big 12 has already expanded beyond that, right?
Yes.
In terms of geography?
Yes, but you're also expanding into other forums. Like right now, it's like the Big 12 is like mostly like like-minded institutions from red states that want to be in the league, as opposed to, well, we're the scraps from the other leagues that we just want a different, like Colorado jumped into a league that it didn't fit in. Colorado fits in the Big 12, like they still do to this day, for example.
It's a very liberal state.
Yeah, but I mean, their football and their tradition and all of that
is with the Big 12.
Is with the Big 12.
Sure.
Now, you can create new tradition, obviously, like sometimes you move to a new neighborhood and you get a new situation. I just think it could get weird quick. Like, just because you add other Power 5 teams doesn't mean it's a good move.
I think it's already weird.
What, in the Big 12?
Yeah, we've already kind of broached that by adding BYU and then going into Florida with UCF. I feel like we've moved beyond that barrier, so what's to say that adding San Diego State would make it that much different?
Well, like adding UConn, for example.
See,
that was brought up in this article. Adding UConn feels odd.
UConn's right there next to West Virginia, though. Like, West Virginia's just kind of out on an island in the Northeast.
Well, it's not a good football move, you know, because their football stinks.
What if
but
it's only basketball? I mean, it doesn't. Their football team isn't independent. What if it's an only basketball move to add UConn and their other Olympic sports? We don't know. That would be the same for Gonzaga, right? Because they don't have a football team.
Right.
I think Brett Yormark's just open to anything, but I'm with you. If they added UConn football,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that gets even more weird.
Whatever. Yes.
That gets even more weird. But the idea of adding San Diego State and, let's say, Colorado and bringing the Buffaloes back to their original Power 5 roots, so you have 2 more teams in the West, and then going and getting like a tandem from the ACC to get to 16.
They're not available.
They're not, but just the idea of that, when I first thought of that, I thought, UCF, if they had a couple of teams in Florida join them in the Big 12, that would make sense. That would be fun. So if Miami and Florida State hopped on along with UCF,
that'd be dope.
That would be incredible.
But they aren't available.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. They're booked to 2036.
The 2 teams that make the most sense to me, there are 2 pairs. There are 2 pairs of teams that make the most sense. San Diego State and Colorado as a package deal, or Arizona and Arizona State.
Sure.
Those are the schools that make the most sense to me, both for the Big 12 and I think for those schools. I'm with you. I think Utah has entered a nice place.
Why
in the
would they
Pac-12.
leave?
Maybe
they're a big dog there in football now.
I wonder how good they're going to be with everybody else seemingly bringing the tide up. Oregon and USC. Like, how much longer can Utah's reign continue when you have Lincoln Riley and the reigning Heisman Trophy winner?
Years. Like, they're gone.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. How much longer can that reign continue?
As long as Kyle Whittingham's there.
You think they'll be the top of the conference as long as he's there?
Who knows what Utah is after Kyle Whittingham? Who knows what Gonzaga is after Mark Field? Like their success has been obviously tied to that coach. Can Utah go get a big dog that comes in?
So you're not buying Oregon or Washington to overtake Utah, even when USC
Washington's
UCLA
had one really good year the last decade. 2016, they made the playoff. Yeah, they're certainly a big brand. But yeah, Utah's in a good spot. If I'm Utah, I don't want to leave. We're like top dog here. We've gone to the Rose Bowl the last 2 years. It's awesome. Why would we entertain any thought of leaving?
I'm with you.
Even if it's for TV money. Granted, that is what it's all about at the end of the day. But at some point, like if BYU was in Utah's spot, we wouldn't want to leave. We'd be like, oh, we're like the kings of the league in football.
The thing that's going to make Utah or Oregon or Washington leave is if some other members of the Pac-12 jump ship and now you're down to 8. Then it could become problematic.
Then they add San Diego State and TBD, and you still hold on as
but you're 9
Power
or
5
10
league,
teams,
and you make less money, but you're getting an auto bid way easier in that league to the expanded playoff.
Yeah, I wonder how long that continues.
Do you want to be the 4th best?
If you don't have it, like, will there be some type of delegation that comes in and says you got to have at least 12 teams if you want to continue on?
I don't know what the rules are there. Clearly, it's at least 10 because the Big 10 has been Big 12 has been operating in that space. So it's at least 10. We know that.
We're fascinated by it.
It might be 8.
Sure.
I don't know the rule.
As far as geography goes, though, I feel like primarily we've already gotten weird. It's already from Provo to Orlando.
And I guess
or Morgantown.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like if you wanted Washington, now you're going Seattle to Orlando. It's quite the trip. And thank goodness there are airplanes. You know, like that makes it a little easier.
Yes, and chartered flights at that.
Like
everybody's chartering now.
We might have an NFL team in Europe at some point. You know what I mean? Like it's It's London
world is
to
much
New York
smaller.
is basically the same as like Miami to Seattle, is it not?
The world is much smaller based on advancing
In terms of-
technology and planes and capability to get places faster.
Aeroplanes.
Yes.